Hey, what's up guys? Now there isn't any specific 420 Funko Pops, but the criteria I'm using is, are they icons of the subculture? Do they look cool as Funko Pops? And if you put these all together in one wall, will people notice a theme? These are my top 10 420 Funko Pops, starting at number 10. Be Real as Dr. Greenthumb, because a Sensi party can't happen without the grower, right? And that's what Dr. Greenthumb is. One of the most unique pops from the Rocks line. I'm very surprised they made this one. Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I don't think they ever specifically mentioned that he's a stoner, but he is one. He even rolls around in a van. And I like the original Shaggy more than the one with like the sandwich, which is cool too. But I think this one turned out a little better, and he's holding the Scooby snacks. Now, is that a euphemism for something? I don't know, but he's a fiend for the Scooby snacks, and it makes you wonder,
what do you mean by
that? Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Now, a lot of comedies don't age that well, but Fast Times kind of did. It's still funny. But Jeff Spicoli is kind of like the quintessential stoner, and definitely is the inspiration for people when they want to like mimic a stoner. With that California surfer voice, the poncho, the Vans, his forgetfulness and aloofness, and doing stuff like ordering pizza in class. The caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. When I was a kid, I didn't know exactly what was up with him, but I knew something was. It's a shame that Funko didn't include the hookah. I mean, if you're gonna make a character like this, why not just go all out? You're making him anyway. Yeah, it would have been cool if you had the hookah, maybe on a mushroom, make it a moment. But the caterpillar can be seen in a lot of stoner-like posters, paraphernalia, shirts, etc. Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. If you've ever been to a Grateful Dead show, you don't even have to bring your own weed, because there's just a cloud over the whole thing. And you would get a contact high whether you liked it or not. And I also really like the way that Funko did the box art here on the side of the box. Very classic style artwork. Snoop Dogg might be in the running for person that smokes the most on the entire planet. I mean, he live streams himself gaming, and one time he had himself on mute for days. His whole chat was trying to tell him for days that they couldn't hear him, that he's on mute. And he didn't even notice. Literally for days. That's hilarious. But yeah, he's definitely an advocate. I believe he even has a guy in his entourage whose only job is to roll blunts for him. This man is serious about getting high, okay? And I think the pop of him I like the most is this one with the afro. Jimi Hendrix. Specifically, the black light Jimi Hendrix. There's two of them, but this is the one I like more. And I'm not sure if there's ever been a musician that has been immortalized in blacklight posters more than Jimi Hendrix. And honestly, all the blacklight pops, when they're all together, kind of remind me of walking into a stoner's den. Willie Nelson. Of all the Funko Pops, except for maybe that brand new Janis Joplin that's coming out, Willie Nelson looks the most like a hippie. I mean, when you see an old man with braids like that, you know what's up. And if there's anybody that might give Snoop Dogg a run for their money for being the biggest stoner on the planet, it's Willie Nelson. Fiti looks like she's literally made out of kush. If you put all these pops outside of the box on the display, you gotta have this one right in the middle. And it may be a coincidence, but I don't think so, that they made her box number 420. Before I get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions that didn't quite make my top 10. Towley from South Park. Not as funny as I used to think it was, now that I'm older, but still very popular at the time. Too bad Funko didn't give it red eyes, although that's easy to customize. Tarna from Heavy Metal. Definitely a big time stoner movie. Jay of Jay and Silent Bob. Stereotypical, almost iconic stoner character. What I was talking about earlier with Spicoli. Jay is kind of like that too. Automan from The Simpsons, another pop that turned out really good. Pippin from Lord of the Rings. I mean, the hobbits have pipes, and they smoke something called pipeweed that makes them feel merry, and they're always hungry, and they're lazy. The Good Luck Bear is one of those characters that, as long as I can remember, people have always been replacing the clover with a pot leaf and putting it on t-shirts and stickers and other paraphernalia. And lastly, Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Another character that you see on paraphernalia all the time. Black light posters, different versions of her on black light posters, and tapestries and t-shirts. And this is the one I like the most, the one with her and the flowers. All right, on to number 1. The Reggae Rasta, of course. Now this is supposed to be Bob Marley, who is the number 1 icon when it comes to reggae. And if you walk into like an old school head shop, this man's face is everywhere. I don't know if there's ever been a man that has been on more t-shirts and posters and flags than Bob Marley. And not only that, his music is great. As far as this pop, I like that he's closing his eyes and he's got one hand outstretched. He's holding a mic. If you couldn't tell from the box, this is a very old pop. And Funko wasn't really breaking the mold back then when it came to just the hands being by the sides in fists. So this was definitely a little different for the time and something a little bit more gutsy. He's pretty rare, pretty expensive now, and good luck finding one in a good box. But yeah, when it comes to a 420 icon, Bob Marley, the Reggae Rasta Funko Pop is the number 1 for me. Alright guys, that was the top 10 420 Funko Pops. What was I talking about? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below or something.